Welcome to the Gin and Tonic Show. We are back talking about the major sins within the religion of Islam. It is a very hot June day in 2025 here in London. I am joined as usual by my excellent co-host and long-time counter Dawah champion. It's Mr. Stop Spamming. Welcome, sir. Stop, see you there?
Yeah, hi. I'm just trying to sort out what the hell I'm doing because I've lost the window.
I just
No.
I just gave you that brilliant introduction and then you let me down with that time delay. Hey, and
Okay. No,
we've got
Jesus, I
Isan
lost
here
it.
as well, has joined us. Excellent.
Hi guys.
Hey, how's it going, my friend?
Good. Good to be back on.
Excellent. So, okay, right. So we are all here. We are looking at the 70 sins of Islam. It's part 9. So we're almost at the end of this journey, which we started in April. And we're going to start off. It's not really related to the sins of Islam, but it's an Ali Dawah video, and it's funny because I don't know if either of you have seen this, but in recent days, I've seen a bunch of these videos crop up about Cristiano Ronaldo possibly being a Muslim. Have you guys heard of this before?
No, but it wouldn't surprise me given how much they try to get celebrities to be closet Muslims.
Well, this is
Yeah, it
it,
seems
isn't
to
it?
give them a boost. It seems to be that if a celebrity joins, this is worth like 5 normal people,
Oh, I'd say 500, to be
or
honest.
even 500.
But for those who don't know, Cristiano Ronaldo, he is one of the top footballers. I mean, he's coming to the end of his career now, but he played for many years at a top uh, club, Real Madrid, and he is one of the most recognised faces in football. So you can see why all the Dawah guys are now swimming around them like sharks, trying to do this celebrity clout chasing. Now, he hasn't actually confirmed that he is a Muslim, but they're all picking up on these tiny little indicators and and just hoping really. Now, he may be a Muslim. Who knows? I mean, who cares really? But it just shows how desperate the Darwa scene is that they'll just try and latch onto anybody that they can, as if like the reflection of their fame will make Islam somehow more legitimate. It's so superficial, but we're going to take a look. This is just a very short video from Ali Dawah, basically trying to get in there early with the clout chasing and and yeah, just trying to glow in that reflected light of Cristiano Ronaldo's fame. Um, so he's the greatest of all time. Oh, you're a Real Madrid fan? All right, let's not get too much into football. Maybe after Messi, yeah, you're closer. Anyways, right, okay, gentlemen. So if you're okay, I'll just go straight into this video, and we'll have a look at what Ali's got to say. Um, the volume is slightly low. I've got it up as high as I can, so I apologise. So viewers, maybe if you just want to turn your volume up a little bit in case it is low, but it's listenable too. So let's give it a go.
4 or 5 things that Ronaldo has been doing lately, and especially what happened yesterday, which shows a clear sign of him, he must accept Islam. Let's watch inshallah. So this is Ronaldo making dua. But besides dua, there's 3, 4 other stuff that he's been doing. I don't know if you guys have noticed, that indicates that he is most likely a Muslim. Here's one of them.
Ronaldo was seen making dua, hands raised, whispering, uttering something, and displaying signs of extreme desperation and eyes looking above at times.
Dua.
Yeah, I'm just going to stop it there. He's put his head in his hands, right? He's at a fucking football match. And clearly, I mean, I'm not sure where that footage is taken from, but it clearly looks like maybe they've just conceded a goal or something like that. And therefore he's kind of desperate, or maybe there's a penalty shootout and it's the tension. But this is enough. They think he's making a Muslim prayer. I'm just thinking, I don't know. Are you convinced by that, Stobbs?
No, definitely not. Come on, I can do that. Am I a Muslim now?
Yeah, you are. You better take your shahada. I mean, quick, do it now. What do you think, Hassan? Does it just look like desperation, really, looking at this?
It is, yeah. I think I've seen others do it. The ones that are like openly Christian, those African ones that they put their hands together like that. It's it doesn't do anything because Portuguese are typically strongly Catholic.
That's right. Yeah.
So they Catholics like to go into symbolism a lot. So that's what I think it is.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, in the UK, we don't really have these displays of religiosity. It's normally just cheering and stuff like that. But particularly in places like Spain and Portugal and Italy, as well as across a lot of the globe, you get these religious inflections, and they are representative of a bunch of different religions. So he could just as well as easily be a Christian. And to me, that was just more him just putting in his hand, putting his face in his hands. That's, I mean, it just really seems desperate to be to sort of take this as some kind of. I mean, you wouldn't want this to be like the evidence you needed in a court case to like make your point or something. This is just so desperate. I've seen Smile says I've seen Picard do a similar face palm. They must have to do with Islam in the future. Yes, Jean-Luc Picard. Apparently, the Starship Enterprise now is a hotbed for Islam. Right, let's watch some more of this.
We make dua like this.
But
Christians don't make dua like
hang
this.
on,
The Jews don't make
Plastic,
dua like
there's
this.
one thing I want to mention here.
Yeah, go ahead.
This time Christians have a one up because the Christian this crossing that they have is definitely more difficult to misinterpret. If you're going, this funny cross gesture that they have, first touching the forehead, then the chest, and the left and right, or arm right or left or whatever, cross symbol that they are making. This gesture you cannot really misinterpret.
Yeah, I agree. And again, you do see that across those countries I mentioned, and a lot in Latin America as well. It's commonplace. Right, let's play on.
Jews don't make dua like this. The Sikhs don't make dua like this. The Buddhists don't make dua like this. Nobody makes dua like this, brothers and sisters. The Muslims make prayer dua like this. Number one, this shows an action that it's not something new. It's not. He didn't go from doing this to this. No, there was not. It was an immediate action, meaning he's done it before. So
yeah, before he's probably had a tense football match where he's not playing on the pitch and he's been anxious. Yeah, I can imagine that. It doesn't necessarily mean he's praying to Allah, but
also he conveniently forgets that it doesn't start like that. He starts off by rubbing his forehead, eyes, or whatever. Then the arms go down, but they don't go all the way, and that's it. So
yeah,
it's
exactly.
not that he puts his hands together like a Muslim does.
is a great sign that shows that it is. And not only that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran that Allah responds to the caller that calls upon him. Meaning a non-Muslim. Allah doesn't say a Muslim. Yes, some could read it as that, but it doesn't mean that, because Allah also tells us in the Quran that when they're sailing in this boat, in the mushrikeen, and when they are stuck and there's storms and stuff like that, who do they turn to? They turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah says we answer their prayers. And when they come to the land safely, they go back to their polytheism, to their shirk. So subhanAllah, it shows that Allah can answer the prayer, genuine prayer of an atheist, whoever it's that, when they directly turn to God Almighty.
I mean, that is quite interesting. So apparently, us non-believers, we can have our prayers answered. So if we're in a storm or something, we can get our escape route and then go back to being a non-believer. That's what I just heard him say. So that's a new revelation. But again, this is pathetic. I mean, like what you're saying here, like, yeah, anyone who's in a desperate need might be, even if they are crying out to God. How do you know it's your God? I mean, surely if they're like a non-believer, let's say they got a Christian background or a Jewish background, they're going to go back to that. They're not going to say, oh, well, I fancy tossing a coin and placing a bet on Allah. I mean, what on earth is he talking about? It's so stupid.
What makes you think that you can change the plan of a God?
Well, exactly. It gets back to that inherent contradiction over and over, doesn't it? Anyways, let's play on.
That's number one. Here's number two.
Ronaldo has shown a strong interest in Islam in recent years and has even performed some Islamic actions.
Number two, him doing
Putting his head on the floor like that. That's it. No one has ever done that. I mean, I've seen this again as a football fan. It just amazes me because I've seen this kind of shit all the time. Whenever like a really important match has been lost, you see players with their head on the ground because it's just like they're dealing with the loss. They're dealing with the loss of the match and the importance of it. It doesn't necessarily mean they're Muslims. I mean, this really is reaching. So this is extra irritating for me as a football fan because this is just standard practice you can see all the time.
And it's handling pain.
Yeah, it's
Like physical, if you get kicked or something.
Yeah, but it's not to say that he's not Muslim. But if this is what you're basing it on, this is just, again, this is just it's the celebrity cycle of chasing that we've seen over. And the thing is, they never learn as well, right? Sorry, I will play the video in a second, but I just want to make this point. They never seem to learn that this celebrity chasing really doesn't work out for them. I mean, has Andrew Tate brought a lot of respect to Islam? Has Sneeko brought a lot of respect to Islam? Even Lily J, who's just a serial liar that everybody has just completely clowned on. Does it really bring respect to Islam? As far as I'm concerned, it doesn't. It just makes Islam look like a joke. So I don't know why they keep doing it. Anyways, sorry. Any comments, gents, or shall I spin on?
I have one more. You remember the name Yusuf Islam?
Yusuf Islam.
Cat Stevens.
Cat Stevens. Yeah.
Anyway, so this was the big trophy that they had because he abandoned music and became a Muslim, renamed himself. Unfortunately, after 10 years, he's back into music. So he stopped being a Muslim again.
But there's another one. You remember Sinead O'Connor? The Irish singer, she became a Muslim, and then all praising everything. But then she was kind of known for years for various kind of crazy antics and quite significant mental health issues. And I can't even remember. She might have even taken her own life? I can't remember how that ended, but
I don't think she took her own life. I mean, I know she died.
Yeah. Sorry. I take that back. So I think it was her son. Went out that way.
I think her son took his life, his own life. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. No, thank you for the correction there. Apologies for that. But again, she kind of was, she wasn't exactly a typical kind of, modest Muslim woman in that respect. So it's just amazing they latch on to all these people. And I'll tell you that. Well, actually, I'll tell you what. I'll save this for the next pause anyway, because there's some interesting things that people should know about Cristiano Ronaldo. Which these guys probably don't know, but let's play on a little bit.
Sajda of shukr. This is something the Prophet ﷺ done, and you can do it when you've got happy news, etc., whatever is for that matter, and you can do it without facing the Qibla. That's the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ.
Al-Walid has revealed his interest in Islam and how he would ask teammates to take time out of training to pray.
Number 3, his friends and colleagues saying that he has interest in Islam. That there's rumors now. There's rumors about his conversion or his clothes, and this happened at the time of the Prophet ﷺ. Like certain individuals who were like, they showed signs, like Hamza radiallahu anhu, he showed signs when he was had a ghira, when the Prophet ﷺ was beaten by Abu Jahl, may Allah curse him, and Hamza smacked his face and said, now I accept Islam, even though he genuinely did not believe it, but there were signs. He said it out of anger, but then he ultimately came for real.
Who would do this though? Did you see that?
No, please come to me. Please come here. You're gonna help me.
Did you see that LeBron played with his son in the video game? Yeah. You're gonna recreate that with your father?
Inshallah.
You are?
Nah, like hopefully.
Okay, his son says inshallah. Now this is something.
Did that sound like inshallah? That was a bit blurred to me.
I didn't hear it.
It sounded like he might have said something else, but even if he did say inshallah, again,
even I sometimes do it.
Well, yeah. I mean, the thing is, if you're around Islam a lot, whether you're a critic, whether you just happen to be friends with him and stuff like that, you can pick up. And if he's got teammates that are also Muslim and their kids are playing or whatever, then yeah, of course that's a possibility, even though it didn't actually sound like inshallah. But if it was, I mean, again, this is just so weak. I don't know what.
The same way as I say, thank God he missed. Yeah. Well, I'm not meaning it as I thank you, God. No, it's just a figure of speech.
Well, yeah, I mean, I use the I say, oh, Jesus Christ. That doesn't make me a Christian.
Exactly.
I mean,
you're a believer.
I mean, deep
down, you know that you do.
Well, yeah, but the funny thing is, though, I think I try to avoid using it in the videos I make for my main channel, just because I do get people saying, oh, you're a Christian and all that. It's just like, there's such literal mindedness that it's just stupid. But anyways, let's play on a little bit more.
Like you said, kids copy. Like when I pray, my children copy. My 2-year-old, my 4-year-old. They copy what I do. They say things what I say. So subhanAllah, that shows that there's something incorporated in the house. And we've heard him say inshallah as well before. With Khabib, etc. So that's number 4. That's a great sign as well. Number 5.
If you give, the God gonna give you the double. So this is what's happened in my life. Since I started to do that, everything in my life become better and better. So I will still carry on to do that.
Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, charity does not decrease wealth.
He's saying the same with the Prophet ﷺ, Sadaqah will never make you poor. He's basically saying not only he's embodied it, not only he's seen it, the haqq, this is true, that when you give in charity, Allah will give you more. He's saying, behaving, actions, rumors, dua, sajda, these are all clear signs he is a Muslim. It's going to
Yeah, apart from he never said any of those Arabic words, did he? All he said was God, basically likes it when you give away charity or whatever. So again, this is reaching desperately. And I'll tell you as well, it's worth saying now a little bit of Cristiano Ronaldo's background for those who don't know. Yes, he is known for giving a lot of charity. He's also known as being a massive fucking tax dodger, and he got like something like a 18 million euro fine from the Spanish government for basically evading taxes for a decade or so. So in terms of being a bit of a financial scammer, he'll fit right in with the Dawah crowd if he is a Muslim. But I just think to be going on about this, I mean, literally in that clip, all it was Ronaldo saying God likes it when you give charity or something like that. There was no mention of Allah, there was no sort of allusion to anything Islamic in there. Again, it's likely his Christian faith. So it's just more desperate reaching, I think. Oh, what's Smile saying here? Unless he robs caravans on the weekend, I'm not convinced. Oh, Smile, you've got to come on the panel at some point, man. These are golden. But yeah, so again, any comments, gents, or shall I just play the last little bit here?
Not from me.
No,
Okay,
carry on.
I'll play the last bit.
be a matter of time. He's going to declare Shahada and he's going to tell us that I've been a Muslim for a couple of years. Because how could one do these actions, know about these things, say these things, and we judge a person by their actions as well? Now, of course, for faith to be accepted, that you have to, somebody that believes in his heart but doesn't testify on his tongue is known as a disbeliever. Yes, and this changes. It can be someone that knows it's the truth but is not rejecting it for whatever reason. Or someone can be just like they're a bit cautious, they still want to know. That's a different story. And for someone that testifies on their tongue but doesn't believe in their heart, they are a munafiq. Yes, but to me, inshallah ta'ala, we assume the best, that there is no doubt Ronaldo is a Muslim, no doubt. And the fact that you're making a dua, as a non-Muslim, if you're watching this, you can do the same. Pray to the one true Almighty that has no partner, not a mother or a father, or daughter or son, the one true God. In Islam, that is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yes, he's not a man, he's not a woman. Worship him alone, inshallah. And talking about sadaqah, guys, please support the Dawah project, inshallah, that Iman Legacy is doing. And you can help millions and thousands of people to learn about Islam, to accept Islam. SubhanAllah says it is a waqf, that is a sadaqah jariyah that carries.
Yeah, all right. Sorry, he does his customary begging for money thing at the end here, so I think I'm just going to stop it there, to be honest. But yeah, so in his mind, there's no doubt that Ronaldo is a Muslim. So you just hope. Well, I hope, and same for Hassan here, since we live in the same country as this man, that he's never on the jury if we have to need it. Because if this is what persuades him, this level of evidence, you're in big fucking trouble if he's making a court decision. But yeah, just more pathetic celebrity clout chasing. They never seem to learn. Yeah, I mean, are we surprised by this at all?
No.
No, it is pretty much same as, isn't it? But it's fun just to see the merry-go-round anyway. So, yeah, unless you've got any further comments, I will move on to the hadiths of the week.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because we've missed, and I apologize for this. I might have missed 2 or 3 actually, but I'm looking to make up for that. God, he really did spend a lot of time begging at the end of that video. So I'm just skipping forward because I've got the hadith saved at the end here. Right, so as I say, I've missed a couple of hadiths of the week, and one of the major sins that we will be dealing with in a way is slavery. So I thought I'd pull up a couple of very short hadiths on slavery because they're always fun. So let's have a look at the first one. Right, I hope everyone can read that. As I say, they're very short. It's Sahih Bukhari. Bukhari is always a favourite. Volume 8, Book 79, Hadith 706. So it says, the Prophet said, if somebody manumits a Muslim slave, Allah will save them from the fire, every part of his body for freeing the corresponding parts of the slave's body. even his private parts will be saved from the fire because of freeing the slaves' private parts. So, yeah, like, why would you need to get it down into that level of detail? I don't understand. Specifically mention if you save his, his manhood, then yours also gets saved for the fire. But so what happens there then? Does that mean, let's say somebody has, I don't know, had their hands chopped off for being a thief, and then you saved them from the fire, but you didn't save their hands, did you? So does that mean that your hands will go to hell, but the rest of you not? I mean, what is this stuff? It's just so stupid. So that's number one. And I mean, any comments? Anyone want to try and really make sense of that? Be charitable to this?
Well, I mean, the obvious thing is says if somebody manumits a Muslim slave, so you're talking, he's saying there's a reward if you free a Muslim slave. So, but obviously doesn't say anything about, well, hang on, what about non-Muslim slaves? They have to just continue to suffer?
Yeah, basically. So they're worth a lot less, obviously. Yeah, that's a good point, actually. I was so taken apart, taken back by the private parts part of it. Yeah, I missed the whole kind of differential treatment again for Muslims and non-Muslims. But yeah, good point. Okay, so let's move on to another one. As I say, I've missed a couple of them, so I thought we'd do two tonight. Here we are. So this is Ibn Majah. Majah? I can never pronounce that properly. How is that pronounced? Majah? Majah? Not sure. Okay.
But Majah, I would say.
Is it Majah? Okay, so it's volume 4, 24, Hadith 2812. It was narrated that Amir bin Abbasar said, I heard the messenger of Allah say, whoever shoots an arrow at the enemy and his arrow reaches the enemy, whether it hits him or not, that is equivalent to him freeing a slave. So the morality of Allah is that if you kill an enemy, or even if you just try and kill your enemy, that is as good, morally speaking, as freeing a slave. So, yeah, I mean, what can you say to that? Perfect moral system, remember? Just absolutely wonderful, that stuff. So, yeah, as I say, they're quite short, so there's not really much I can say. Anyone want to make a comment on that?
No, I mean, this whole topic of slavery is ridiculous.
Yes.
I always ask Muslims, why is it that you get slaves if it's such a good, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, action to free them? Why not make the slaves in the first place? Why not say in the Quran, it is prohibited to own human beings as property? And just stop it. And then they say, yeah, well, this was at the time and blah, blah, blah. So I said, I said, okay, does that mean that Allah at some point created human beings to be slaves because he knew in advance that they were going to be enslaved? So he created these human beings in order to be enslaved. Did he do that? And they have no answer to that.
No, absolutely, because there is no answer, because it doesn't make any sense. Right, okay, so we are on to the major sins. So just a quick recap. I was going to do a review of how Islam is getting on so far, but because we're right near the end, I thought I would just save it until we do the kind of roundup episode on this. So just suffice to say that what we do is we award 1 point to one of these major sins of Islam if we feel that, yes, we agree it should be a criminal act. So things like murder and stealing and stuff like that, we would award something like that a point. If one of these sins on the list are not a crime, but we consider them, yes, there's a case to say that this is immoral behavior, we give it half a point. If we don't consider it to be immoral at all, we give it 0. And if it's a kind of 50-50 where you think it could be immoral or it could not, or it might not be, then we'll give it 1/4. So it's a point, a half, a quarter, or 0. That is our basic scoring system. Islam has not done particularly brilliantly, especially last week. It was garbage, wasn't it? But this should be a more interesting week because we've got some more interesting kind of items on the list. So we will start with number 57, which is absconding by slaves, which is why the focus on slavery. So doesn't actually seem to have a Quranic verse here in this document. But the hadith says when a slave runs away, his prayer is not accepted. There are 3 whose prayer Allah will not accept, from whom no good action will rise to heaven: a runaway slave until returns to his master, a woman whose husband is angry with him until he's pleased with her, and a drunkard until he is sober. That's me in trouble. So this is brilliant, and I will start off on this one, then I'll take your guys' thoughts on it. But I find it ironic, and I was just saying this to Stop Spamming before we went live. You have this situation where, first of all, Muslims say there is no slavery. Then they say, well, there is slavery, but Muhammad came to end it. Then they'll say, well, he came to end it, but it's a little bit difficult, so he banned pork straight away. But he kept slavery on the books for another couple of thousand years. And it's just this ridiculous apologetics. But another one you get is that, oh, you can't use any physical force against your slave. You can't beat them. You can't do anything like that. But yet at the same time, if a slave runs off, then he's created a major sin. Now, funnily enough, this apologetic, when they say you can't beat your slave, it's very selective in the hadith how they do this, because there are hadith that say you can't hit your slave unless they do something which is basically inappropriate, disobeying their master or something like that. So if you do try and run away, you can absolutely beat the shit out of them. And I think this major sin is confirming that. So in terms of the actual point scoring, I don't think this is a major sin. I think it is a very moral thing for a slave to run away, quite frankly. So I give this a 0, and I'd love to give it a -10, to be honest.
Yeah, it's definitely a 0.
I think
you're not going to get a contest here, I think.
Well, I actually think this is one of the worst ones, because it is an absolutely immoral system, and they're saying that it's a major sin to try and free yourself from this kind of oppression. To me, that is possibly the worst thing we've read here, because it is elevating something that in itself is a terrible sin to keep a slave. If you want to use that language, and it's saying that's the morality. So this is possibly the worst thing for me on the list. Funny how it groups together wives and slaves. Oh yeah, wives and slaves are always put together like that. It is really, and often animals as well, whenever they're kind of ranking property in these Islamic scriptures. It's fucking awful. But anyway, yeah, so that one was pretty clear cut, I think. So we're all going for 0 on that, yeah? No one wants to try and argue this.
Mind you, the drunkard until he is sober does go a bit of the way to to making up for it, but yeah, the other 2 about my wife and the slave, just they're definitely, it's all definite 0.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's quite funny. Yeah, slightly off the topic, but yeah, your prayer will not be accepted if you're a woman whose husband is angry with you. Well, that anger might be completely illegitimate for a start, and probably is. So, you just disobeying him is enough to cause him anger, and then his anger means that your prayers won't get you to heaven. So, again, lovely system here. Right, let's move on to number 58. Okay. Slaughtering to other than Allah Almighty. This is like when people say in the name of Shaitan, or an idol, or the name of a certain sheikh. Allah Almighty says, do not eat anything over which the name of Allah has not been mentioned. To do so is sheer deviance. The shaitans inspire their friends to dispute with you. If you obeyed them, you would then be idolaters. And that's Quran 6:1-1. I'll throw it open to you, gentlemen. Comments, scoring. How do you think about this one?
No idea what to do with this. What is this? Come on.
I mean,
is that really the most important thing to put into the Quran?
Well,
yeah.
To be fair,
keep slaves, but be careful in what direction you slaughter an animal, please.
And whose name you say. Now, to be fair, all right, I'm going to try and be really charitable here to this one, because underneath it says, according to Ibn Abbas, This refers to carrion, animals that have been strangled, and other categories mentioned in the third ayah of Surah Al-Ma'idah. Now, I'm going to try and be really charitable and say it's probably not a good thing to like eat carrion in terms of like rotting flesh. That's because that's kind of quite unhealthy for you. That is about as best as I can say about this, but I can't. I mean, the whole idea of religious slaughter is just fucking stupid in my mind, and it's not just with the the Muslim; it's the kosher stuff as well. It's making an animal suffer. This is one that should get a minus point really, because it's advocating something as moral, which is fundamentally immoral, making an animal suffer for no reason. And to claim it might be a wrong. You're saying the wrong God's name as you're doing it is somehow a major sin. Worse than
that's so important. It's like saying the name of a different god is somehow so important that it's listed as a major sin. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, what worse than owning a slave is saying the wrong God's name over a carcass. Yeah.
What is carrion? Doesn't that mean it's an already dead carcass?
Yeah, carrion is in like it's rotting carcass basically.
Okay, so explain to me how does that match with what the Quran says?
You'll have to be more specific.
Okay, anything over which the name of Allah has not been mentioned. If something is like old rotten meat, how do you know what name was mentioned when this animal got killed by whatever? We don't know. I mean, would it have hurt the God of the Islamic blah 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 to clarify what the hell he's trying to say? This is crazy, because if you find an animal that is dead for 2 weeks or something, of course you're not going to eat it. And if you come to think of it, how do you know how it was killed and whether or not which God's name was uttered over it?
Well, yeah, it's just ridiculous, isn't it?
This is ridiculous. This doesn't make sense. It doesn't. This is absolutely a no non-sentence.
What I'm thinking.
Yeah, go ahead.
What I'm thinking is when it talks about carrion and animals that have been strangled, because animals are supposed to be slaughtered by slitting their throats. So what I'm thinking when they were writing this was, if you imagine a scenario where you come across an already dead animal and you want to eat it, so you don't know how it was, so it's not been halal slaughtered. Do you then just say a few words to try and make it halal once it's already dead?
Yeah, I assume so. Yeah, so it's like you came across a bit of roadkill or something, and you wanted to eat it. Then you have to do a little prayer to Allah or something. But
but roadkill from a camel is not that likely, is it?
But what amazes me about this, there's another angle to this, is they say like, well, if you're in a desperate situation, that terrible sin of eating pork doesn't apply. Like that's the general consensus among Muslims. So if that's so easily overridable, why is this even mentioned as a major sin? Considering that you can eat pork if the situation warrants it. I mean, not that it says that in the Quran, but at least that is the interpretation of most Muslims, isn't it? If you've got nothing else to eat, you can eat pork. So again, why this gets elevated to such importance is just ridiculous. But yeah, anyway, okay, so it's another clear 0 then for this. I'm starting to think I looked at the wrong list. I thought we would have more discussion on this, but we've had 2 straight 0s again. Let's have a look. Next one. All right, this one is a bit weird, I think. Knowingly ascribing oneself falsely to someone other than one's actual father. So whoever claims someone other than his true father to be his father, the garden is forbidden to him. Al-Bukhari related. Abu Hurairah related to the Prophet said, "Do not disdain your fathers. Whoever disdains his father is an unbeliever." Okay, so it's sort of all right. Again, I'm going to be trying to be charitable to this one. So I suppose it's like you're disrespecting your biological father by claiming somebody else to be your actual biological father. Maybe it's that, or it's like a disrespect to your parents in general, or something like that. Maybe
it's for the inheritance, that if you're a poor guy and then you say I'm the rich guy's son, that you hope to inherit more. Maybe it's this that is prohibited.
Actually, that's a good point. I suppose from their point of view, then you're messing with Allah's sort of laws on inheritance. I suppose
If you want to marry your sister, you just say, I'm not the brother, I'm this guy's son, so I can marry her. There's lots of
Yeah, Rising Dampy saying the same thing, false inheritance claim. Okay,
Yeah,
all
I'm
right.
thinking,
Oh, go ahead.
so I'm just thinking, I'm seeing it differently because I knew he had a problem with adoption, and I'm just trying to think. This is maybe an extension of that, where he's saying that if you're adopted, you don't say that your adopted father is your real father. You have to acknowledge your biological father. In the same way, if you had a stepdad, you're not to treat him as your real father. You have to do that to your biological father. Maybe that's just what he's trying to get at, because that was quite important to him.
Exactly. Another possibility. Yeah, absolutely. Or if you don't like your father, like, well, if you're adopted or a foster child or something, you don't like it, and you go to somebody else. No, sorry, tack you about, can't.
Yeah, I mean, it goes even further there, saying any man who ascribes himself to someone other than his actual father knowingly has committed unbelief. So it's almost like saying that you become an apostate if you deny your father. I mean, that's quite strong.
Okay. Is
But
it
then it
immoral?
says
Is it
anyone who lays
illegal?
claim to what is not his is not one of us and should take his seat in the fire. So that suggests again it's more to do with the inheritance side of things. But yeah, I imagine it's probably both, isn't it? So I mean, if we took it at that, can anyone make a case that maybe you could give something higher than 0 for this? Maybe a quarter if you were doing possibly some kind of inheritance fraud or something like that. Could we stretch it that far? I mean, I'm not inclined to, but I'm trying to be generous here tonight in case any of the Muslims who listen to this think I'm being deliberately mean to Islam. I mean, can anyone see that
Well,
case?
I'd give it a quarter, because you could extrapolate from it some lesson about respecting your real parents. So, it's a lot better than the others.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're injecting something here that is not there. I mean, the way this thing is worded, you can't glean any information from this. You need more information about the context to be able to judge anything.
Well, to be fair, I mean, it is just the way this has been worded is just by the scholars who have put this list together. So, I mean, I think it's reasonable that we don't have to be slavishly tied to the title. I think we can look at the context, but I'm tempted to do that myself, Hassan, like combine the two things of the respect for the parent thing and the potential inheritance fraud.
Yeah.
I think if you threw those two aspects together, I'd be willing to go a quarter point on this one.
Out of charity.
Out of charity, because I'm feeling very charitable tonight, and plus, it's going to be a line of zeros otherwise. So we've got to try and now. Yeah.
Okay, I hope we're not going to regret this later.
All right. Well, look, I'm going to go. Yeah. All right. So we'll go for a quarter then. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Islam, you got off very lightly there, I think. See how kind we are as disbelievers.
Can't you give an 8?
Yeah, let's not go down that. Right. Okay. Number 60 is argument, quarreling, and disputation. So Allah says, among mankind there is someone whose words about the life of this world excite your admiration, and he calls Allah to witness what is in his heart, while he is in fact the most hostile of adversaries. When he leaves you, he goes about the earth corrupting it, destroying crops and animals. Allah does not like corruption. So, part of what is centered here is argument, disputation, and quarreling. Al-Ghazali said disputation means picking apart words to show discrepancies in them, with no other desire than to denigrate the speaker and demonstrate your superiority over him. Okay, so it seems to be like arguing for the sake of arguing, a sort of bullying debate style, maybe.
I think it's a duplicate, isn't it?
No, I don't think.
I think there were similar things before, but
yeah.
I don't think for about arguing. I mean, you're right. This list has had a lot of kind of copies and similars, but I don't remember there one being on.
Well, it's
maybe quarreling.
Hypocrisy.
Maybe.
Okay, it's hypocrisy because you're saying one thing, doing the other. and by doing that, you're damaging Islam. And this, I think, we've seen twice already.
Have we? Oh, I'd have to go. Oh, maybe I should have reviewed the list so we could. It's hard to remember them all now once you get up to this many.
Yeah. I mean, there were similar ones to it, but what I'm thinking reading this is something about have critical discussion, but if you lose, don't kick the chairs over on your way out or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I agree.
But Rising Damper's made a good point here. Stopping debate and criticism of Islam. It could relate to that as well, because that if anyone's going to lose an intellectual argument, it's going to be about whether Islam is true or not, and that's going to be the Dawah guy. So it almost seems to be like debate with us, but if you pull apart our bad arguments, don't do that. That's against Allah. Don't show the discrepancies. I mean, literally, it says don't pick apart words to show discrepancies in what the person's saying. So I mean that really could. I mean, I don't know if that is the intended context of this, but I can see what Rising Damp is saying with that.
Okay, but from a legal point of view, there's nothing that you can catch here. The only thing that you can say, well, yeah, it's slightly immoral. Yeah, sure.
I mean, I might maybe a quarter point here. You could argue.
Exactly.
I mean,
that's what I'm suggesting as well.
I'd give it a quarter.
Yeah, because I think you can.
Oh my goodness, what the hell is going on? All three of us in agreement for the second time? No, come on, this has to stop immediately.
We're just being really, really kind today. We're obviously all in a really charitable mood tonight. Maybe it's the hot weather. It's affected our critical thinking skills. But yeah, I'm tempted to give a quarter. I can think of enough situations where it can be a bit of a shitty thing to do, to be deliberately trying to like bully people in arguments and stuff like that, and try to make them look foolish and things. Yeah, I suppose I could say a quarter. I mean, it's just ironic though, because this would apply to every Dawah session I've seen down at Speaker's Corner, where they jump on somebody who doesn't know anything about Islam, because that's exactly the tactic they do. They just don't like it being done back to them. But all right, so we'll go for a quarter then. Oh dear, too generous tonight. Okay. Number 61, denying spare water to others. Allah says, what do you think? If one morning your water disappears into the earth, who would bring you running water? So do not deny spare water in order thereby to deny pasture by it. If someone denies excess water and excess pasturage, Allah will deny him his bounty on the day arising. I mean, I think this is the first decent one I've seen in a while, or half decent, because it is basically saying, yeah, if somebody needs water, you should give it to them. And you could eat.
Because you're in the desert, of course.
Well, you could even argue, because I think isn't it maritime law that you have to give water to another ship that needs it? I don't know if maybe that's going too far back in the past, but I know that used to be at one point it was illegal to deny someone water, because if you were on a ship and you were dying of dehydration and stuff, then it was legally incumbent on another ship to be able to support you in your time of need. So you could even argue that this is a one pointer, but I don't know. I would certainly give it a half a point. I would certainly say to deny somebody water who needs it, I think would be a very immoral act. I mean, it could lead to them some severe consequences for them,
especially with spare. Yeah.
Would you argue to bump it up to a whole point? Is there an argument to be made for that? Not sure.
I probably would. It doesn't say anything about. Yeah, it doesn't say something like, give these people your spare water, but not these people. So I'd probably give it a whole point here.
Yeah, I agree. It's surprisingly universal, isn't it? It doesn't often. What's this person saying? Why does it say your channel is not available? Are you banned? I have no idea what you're talking about. What channel are you talking about? If you're leaving a comment here, it's not banned.
But hang on, I've got a discrepancy here. I don't see how denying spare water to others has any relevance to what the Quran sentence says. There's no.
Well, there isn't one. I mean, if you look,
if one morning your water disappears, who's going to bring you?
They're hadiths, aren't they? It's not in the Quran. So
Oh, is this a hadith?
Oh no, sorry.
No,
The
this
top.
is Quran.
Sorry, beg your pardon. Yeah, the top one is that's Quran 6730.
So I don't see the relevance. I don't see any.
Well, like so much of the Quran, it's kind of a rhetorical question, isn't it? It's like, if one
Yeah.
morning your water disappears into the earth, who would bring you running water? So, in other words, to say, look, well, I mean, actually, you could argue that's basically saying that Allah would provide it, but
That's what it's going for. Yeah, that's how I understand it. Yeah.
but we can look at the hadiths. I mean, Muhammad is specifically saying, do not deny spare water in order there.
Yeah, that's different, right?
So I'm willing to go on the hadiths. You know, I mean, we highlight their negatives so much. I'm not going to be.
Jesus, you're really being charitable today.
Well, no, I mean, look, at the end of the day, we read out so many bad hadiths from Muhammad. If he's actually telling them something good, like make sure they've got water if you've got some spare, I think we should be reasonable and.
He's lowered the bar sufficiently.
I'm clicking on your Gin and Tonic Show YouTube channel, and it says channel is not available. Is anything else? Is anyone else having this in this chat? Again, I'm not sure what you're talking about. The Gin and Tonic Show channel is available. You wouldn't. I mean, we wouldn't be able to do a live stream if it wasn't available. So, I don't know what's happening there, Pixel Predator. So yeah, sorry. Back to this. So, yeah, I would agree with you. I think it would be reasonable to say, yeah, you are kind of denying somebody like life sustaining basic property and not giving them water. I don't know if it is actually illegal though. I suppose if you go into a restaurant or something like that, I think technically they do have to give you like tap water, but I'm not sure. I'd have to double check the kind of legal system on that. But yeah, I would go ahead and give this a 1 because I think this is actually, for a change, quite a nice one. So
okay.
You disagree, Stops? You're not convinced it should be a 1?
No, not really. I'm a bit torn between the title and then what it says in the Quran. I think what is bugging me is the Quran sentence. If they would have left it out and said there's nothing in the Quran about this, let's just go for the hadith, then I would have said, wholeheartedly, yeah, go for it, 1 point.
See, Islam would be much better without the Quran. This is what you say.
Yeah, exactly. Like you and I would be better apologists for Islam. No doubt.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, there might be some context in other verses that are around it. Bearing in mind, I mean, there also may not be, but
I'm prepared to give it a 1. Yeah, just.
I can see what you're saying. I can see what you're saying there, Stops. But yeah, again, since we're being charitable tonight, and since I think it's just so nice to come across something that, at least the way we're looking at it, is a basic moral thing. So
you're showing your appreciation now.
Yeah, it's got so bad now that I'm lowering the bar in terms of what.
Okay, let's go for 1 point.
Yeah, all right. So we'll give that a 1. Well, that is the first one I think they've had an award.
Mohammed, 12 points. Oh no, 1.
Congratulations! So he's picked up 1.5 points so far tonight, which is better than a lot of weeks. So
Alhamdulillah.
Okay, giving short measure and weight.
Okay, that's 100%. They can't screw this one up.
Well, let's read, because there might be a caveat here. Woe to the stinters, meaning those who give people short measure and weight. Those who, when they take a measure from people, exact full measure, but when they give them a measure or weight, hand over less than is due. And that's Quran 83.
Well done.
1. Yeah, I mean, it's basically conning people, isn't it? So it's I think it's a pretty clear 1 for this. I'm starting to regret being generous on the other ones now. Yeah, it's basically, I mean, again, you could argue it's another kind of form of stealing, which we've had over and over multiple times now. But yeah, it's kind of, you're conning people, aren't you? It's clearly fraudulent. It clearly makes sense to have something like this as a criminal act to stop people doing it. And yeah, you're fucking someone over, so clearly it's immoral. So yeah, one point looks good.
I'd give it a 1.
Yeah, okay then. So note to self: do not be generous too early in the show, because it may come back to you. All right, let's move on. God, is this the last one? I can't remember. 63. How many have we done? 57, 8, 9, 0, 1, 2. This is the last one, isn't it?
Well, that
Feeling,
leaves us 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 77 to go. Yeah, exactly.
yeah, okay, so we're on the last one. So feeling
Time
secure.
flies when you're having fun.
Yeah. Feeling secure from Allah's devising. So Allah says
Wow.
until they were until while they were exulting in what they had been given, we suddenly seized them. Quran 6:44. In other words, Allah's punishment seized them from a direction they were not expecting. So yeah, so what we're saying here is don't get too comfy, because Allah's always going to be looking over your shoulder to punish you, basically, if you're doing something he doesn't like.
Well, why does it say complacency? Why is this? I don't know. This is so weird, this wording.
Well, again, it doesn't really signify anything in particular. So I'm
Well,
not sure.
exulting in what they have been given. That's complacency, isn't it?
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just, it is kind of like, you know, just saying don't forget that Allah's always watching you.
No, exactly. Yeah.
Just, you know, try to make sure you don't lose. You don't get too cocky or stray too far from the rules. That's what I'm thinking here.
Yeah, it's also kind of like I can give and I can take it away in a heartbeat as well. So watch the fuck out, kind of thing. It's yeah, but it is kind of that thing like. Well, like when I was a kid, when I was a Christian, it was always like, oh, God's always got his eye on you, so don't do anything naughty. It does have that feel to it. I don't know. Well, one of you. How are you going to score it? Either of you, it's on or stops. Are you giving this anything?
No.
No, I wouldn't give it anything, because it's not really a moral thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's kind of
It's neither legal nor moral. It's just a show of force. This is like Trump, either you kiss my butt or you're out.
Yeah, I mean it's it's basically just a kind of veiled threat from Allah, isn't it?
That's what I see it as. Yeah.
Yeah. So definitely 0. Don't worry, Smile 0. You want it 0 for all of them, but we're definitely giving this one 0. Yeah. So how's that ended up then? So we've given out 2.5 points then tonight, because we were feeling generous. I mean, we could have easily just given out 2 points, but I think not bad this week. There were actually a couple in there that genuinely I would agree. Well, I mean, wouldn't use the language of sin. I would definitely say that it's something that's incredibly immoral and should be an illegal kind of act. And they managed to get 2 in 1 week, which I think might be a record. So well done to Islam tonight. Done a little bit better, but it was still the usual nonsense amongst it. I mean, that's still only 2.5 points out of 7, so you're talking just over a third. So it's still not great, but we'll see how we'll see how the final score comes out next week, I suppose. Chris Taylor is saying, Allah sees you when you did you want me to sing this, Chris? Is this what you're going for? Allah sees you when you're sleeping. Allah knows when you're up. All right, I won't make you suffer with my terrible voice on this. So it's like Allah Claus, Santa Claus. It really is a weird one to finish. It's a weird one to finish on, because we were starting to do better. We were starting to do better towards the end of this list, and then I always have to throw in a curveball like this just to remind you it's Islam and it's not really going to make sense. But so I think we are done for tonight. There are a couple of things I want to say just about the show going forward. So if people will hold on, let me just clear the screen. Was there any final comments on tonight's sins, gentlemen? Anything else you wanted to add?
No.
All right. Well, it was better than last week, but still a bit weird. So, right, next week we'll be doing part 10 at the same time on Friday, and then what we'll be doing is on the Sunday, so 2 days afterwards, we'll be doing a new show. So we'll have 2 shows next week. Now, the one on Sunday will be kind of doing a wrap up and a analyzing how well Islam has done. So we'll review the previous 70 sins. We're not going to basically just totten up the scores and see how well Islam has done. So that'll be a extra episode on Sunday of next week. It would also be, what we're doing is that day corresponds with the it'll be the 5,000th day of the Gin and Tonic show. It's 5,000 days next Sunday. For how long since the show first started back in 2011. So we're also going to do a little bit of a look back. It'll almost be like a clip show, one of those old-fashioned clip shows where we're going to have a look at a few items from older shows, just where they were funny or insightful. And Stocks and I will be here just taking a little bit of a fun, nostalgic look at some old clips. So that will be an additional show of Sunday next week. But we'll be doing part 10 on our usual Friday, and that'll be the last one. So you get double the Gin and Tonic next week. And it'll be the same time, 8 p.m. UK time on both days. So Friday and Sunday next week. Make sure you're available because it should be some good food. We're hoping. Well, tried to get some old faces from the past for the kind of clip show segment, but unfortunately, I've been turned down by everyone so far.
Yeah, Rationalizer also hasn't reacted. Klingshaw flat out denied. Sorry.
Oh, you didn't. You asked Klingshaw, really?
Look, Klingshaw came to me and said, please delete everything that I've ever done.
Yeah, that's like 10 years ago.
He denies that he's ever existed. So he's living in denial. So number one, he says that he is not responsible for what he did like 10 years ago. Because this was not serious, because now he's got a PhD and now he thinks this is a big deal. And the second thing, he is accusing us, the old team, especially me, since I worked with him for like nearly 10 years, calling us all Islamophobes.
Yeah, no, I remember that. I've documented that a little bit on my own channel as well when he came back to YouTube. But you haven't tried to contact him recently, have you?
No, not recently. No, come on.
Oh,
he says
right.
No.
Okay. I mean, I was about to say.
Rationalizer also tried, and he said no. He flat out refused.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, I asked Atheismo, who is the first host
moderator
of the show, and he declined this time. But to be honest, I can understand, because I did an interview with him a couple of years ago, which you can actually see if you want to. It's in the oldest playlist, the first 4 years playlist on this channel. I spoke to him for over 2 hours, so I think he kind of felt, I can understand if he felt, look, I've done my nostalgia thing on the show, that was enough for him. So I completely understand. I did ask Hassan Radwan as well, but he is retired, so he also declined as well, which is fair enough. I have also asked Abu Mulhid, who was a host some years ago, used to work with Stocks and Rob. I left a message on his channel. I have no idea if he hasn't responded. I have no idea if he even used that channel anymore, but he might show up. Rob will hopefully be here next Sunday, but I don't know. It depends on his schedule and everything. But even if it's just me, Stocks, and also obviously Isan, you're welcome to join us for the for the whole episode. We'll have a look through anyway. I'm just going to have a selection of short clips just so we can kind of have a look back and enjoy some of the past stuff. So hopefully we might get an older face come along as well to it, but if not, we've got myself and Stocks here, and I don't know, maybe Nick and Moose might drop in as well, as previous host. So we'll see what happens. But the important thing is we've got two shows next week. We got it on the Friday and on the Saturday, and Friday and the Sunday, and after the Sunday, that is the complete project wrapped up for the major sins of Islam. So after that, we will need something new. Now, I think the last Friday in June will be, I think Nick has got a little presentation he wants to do, so we will definitely have something for the last weekend in June. After that, I don't know what's going to happen, to be honest. I will discuss this obviously with Stocks and Rob and Isan about doing stuff going.
I thought I'm going to go back into retirement.
Well, it'll be my job to try and. Well, look, this is also an audience.
I was thinking maybe I should do some more videos.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, I've also I've been neglecting my own channel for the last couple of months, so I really do have to go back and do my own stuff there. And I don't necessarily. I had somebody in the comments ask about doing Dawah review videos, and I'm not opposed to doing that, but the thing is, it is the bread and butter what I do on my main channel, and to be honest, I don't just want to be repeating what I'm doing there over here. Now, I have had some ideas about maybe doing a longer Dawah project, doing longer videos spread over a number of episodes and stuff like that. But this will kind of take some audience input as well. I think you guys need to tell us what you want to see, because I don't want it to be a situation where we're just carrying on for the sake of carrying on. So the reason I'm saying all this now, even though we've got the next couple of weeks sorted out, I just wanted to give all you in the audience a chance to say, look, if you've got suggestions for us, things that you want to do, put them down. Put them in the latest community post that I've done. Give us an idea of what you want, or leave comments at the end of this video, and I'll take a look. Because long term, I'm up for doing more shows, but I don't want to be doing it just for the sake of it. So you've got a couple of weeks notice now. Give us all your ideas, what you'd like to see, if you'd like to even contribute potentially. Maybe if Muslims want to come and have a discussion, we can talk about that as well. So you've got 2 weeks notice essentially. You've got 2 weeks notice.
I was just about to add this. This doesn't only go to critics. If you're a Muslim and you have a good idea, what you think might just convince us, please come here. You've got your platform. You can always do 10 or 15 minutes, but you need to be you need to realize that we're going to be criticizing and critical of what it is that you are saying. Okay. But if you do have a brilliant idea, please always go ahead and try and voice it. I say the same things on the German channel. Every Muslim is welcome to do so, but please don't just come and preach. Okay, bring your idea. Bring the best is always an argument. If I go take premise this, I don't know how many premises, and at the bottom, what comes out as a conclusion, therefore this, brilliant. But don't come there and say, well, yeah, I was dreaming and then I left my body and I was floating around. No, or I look at the trees and the clouds, and no.
Well, yeah, I totally agree with that. I'd really like to have Muslims come on here, and I don't want to make it a hostile platform like the Dawah channels do. We will give you a fair shot on here, as a Gin and Tonic show has always historically done, and I'd be more than happy to have that as part of the future. But yeah, just like Stop Spamming is saying, this is not Speaker's Corner. You're not here to preach. You can present an argument, we can have a discussion or a debate about something, but it's not just going to be a gish gallop. That will get you the mute button, so it's just worth knowing. But I know that there are decent Muslims out there who want to have an honest conversation, and you're more than welcome to come here, and it could be fascinating going forward. So look, there's all these possibilities. Oh, hi Moose, yeah, one of our previous hosts. Good to see you, mate. Yeah, this is why I'm saying it, because I wanted to give notice, because as I say, we've got our 2 regular shows next week. Presentation probably the last thing of June, so last Friday of June. So you've got a couple of weeks there to work it out. Any ideas there, then put them forward, and we'll see what we can do going forward. Rising Damp says you've really you've really enjoyed the series. I've really enjoyed doing this series. As I say, we've still got one more to go, and then a wrap up. But yeah, it's been fun. I thought it's something different.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
And if people have got their own ideas for doing this kind of thing, if there's some other topic which you think maybe we have not touched before, or maybe haven't touched in years, and you want to go over it again, I'm open to all suggestions. And if there's enough here to keep us interested and the audience interested, then I'm sure we'll bring it to you, because I don't want this to be the end. I've got a lot of affection for this show. So yeah, with all that said, that is my plea to you all. If you want to see it continue, then let us know what you want to see. Dude is asking for, oh, we got a suggestion already. How about a new series reviewing the Islamic version of Heaven and Hell? Could do that. Have you ever done stuff on the Islamic Heaven and Hell? How it's described?
This is why it's not a series. I mean, it's just.
Sorry, guys, I've got to go.
Okay, all right. Okay. Yeah, and actually, I'll tell you, we're going to end the show here now anyway. So everybody think about it, and we'll see you all next Friday. Take care all.